Are you brave enough to face the unknown? The UK, rich in history, hides secrets that defy logic. Here are 15 haunted towns where the past refuses to rest, with eerie tales that'll make you question what lies beyond. 1. Bodmin, Cornwall. The small Cornish town of Bodmin seems peaceful at first glance, with its rolling hills and picturesque countryside. But underneath its calm exterior lies a dark past filled with eerie tales. The most chilling of these is the story of Bodmin Jail, which once housed the most dangerous criminals of the 18th and 19th centuries. Many claim that the spirits of these inmates still haunt the dark, stone corridors of the prison, restlessly seeking freedom they never found in life. One spirit in particular has earned a notorious reputation. William, a man who was executed for murder. Paranormal investigators and visitors alike report hearing footsteps echoing through the hallways, as though being followed by an unseen presence. In 2015, a paranormal investigator managed to capture the image of a shadowy figure in one of the old cells, a figure that seemed to vanish into thin air as if it never existed. Some believe this is William, still trapped in his cell, seeking escape even after death. But the terror doesn't stop at the jail. Bodmin Moor, an expansive and wild piece of land on the outskirts of town, is said to be home to a spectral horseman who appears in the dead of night. Known as the Ghostly Rider, this phantom figure rides across the moor, often during storms. Witnesses report hearing a distant eerie whistle carried by the wind as the rider gallops across the land on a ghostly horse. If you stand too long in the moor, it's said that you might hear the sound of hooves drawing nearer, only for the rider to vanish when you turn around. It's an unnerving reminder that the spirits of Bodmin will never truly leave. 2. St. Andrews, Fife. St. Andrews, a town famous for its ancient university and picturesque coastline, is also home to some of the UK's most disturbing ghost stories. Among its many haunted locations is the St. Andrews Cathedral, once the largest and most impressive church in Scotland before its destruction in the 16th century. The cathedral, now in ruins, is believed to house the restless spirits of monks who once lived there. Visitors often report hearing Gregorian chants drifting through the air, as if the monks are still performing their ancient rituals. Others claim to have seen shadowy figures walking between the broken columns, vanishing as quickly as they appear. But it's not just the cathedral that carries a ghostly presence. The town's old streets are said to be haunted by the ghost of a young woman named Janet, who was accused of witchcraft and executed in the 16th century. Locals say they've seen her apparition near the old university, still wearing the tattered remnants of her execution gown. Some even claim to hear her desperate cries carried on the wind at night, as if she is still pleading for mercy. The town is also known for the haunted Pittenweem Road, where people have reported seeing a tall, dark figure that silently follows them, only to vanish at the town's edge. This shadowy figure is believed to be the ghost of a former inhabitant who died under mysterious circumstances, and locals say that encountering it is a sign of impending misfortune. Whether this legend holds true remains a mystery, but the chilling presence of St. Andrew's haunted past continues to linger in the town's very air. 3. Clitheroe, Lancashire. The small town of Clitheroe, nestled in the heart of Lancashire, is another hotspot for paranormal activity. One of its most haunted locations is the Clitheroe Castle, a 12th century fortress that has seen centuries of bloodshed. The castle, now a museum, is rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a woman named Alice, who was accused of witchcraft and imprisoned within the castle's dark, damp walls. Her apparition is said to appear on moonlit nights, wandering the castle grounds in a white gown, her eyes filled with sorrow. As if that weren't enough, Clitheroe's streets are also said to be haunted by the spirits of former soldiers who fought in the English Civil War. Witnesses have reported hearing the sound of marching boots and the clang of swords as these spectral soldiers move through the town, reenacting long-forgotten battles. The eerie sounds often vanish as suddenly as they appear, leaving only the feeling of cold air behind. Another famous haunting in the area is the Highmoor House, located on the outskirts of Clitheroe. Here, it is said that the ghost of a little girl, dressed in a frilly white dress, can be seen peering out of the windows at night. Legend has it that the child died in a tragic accident, and her spirit remains trapped in the house, still searching for her parents. Some visitors have even claimed to hear her giggles echoing through the halls, though no one is ever seen. 4. Richmond, North Yorkshire. The historic town of Richmond, North Yorkshire, is home to a number of ghostly tales. One of its most famous haunted locations is Richmond Castle, a medieval fortress that has stood for over 1,000 years. The castle is rumored to be home to the ghost of a former soldier who was tragically killed during a battle in the 17th century. Visitors claim to hear the sounds of armor clanking and footsteps echoing through the castle's cold, stone halls. Some even report seeing the figure of a man in tattered armor moving through the shadows before disappearing into the walls. Richmond's Market Square is also believed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl who died in a tragic accident many years ago. People passing through the square at night claim to see her figure standing near the fountain, her face frozen in an expression of fear. Those who have gotten too close say they can feel a cold breeze and an overwhelming sense of sadness that lingers in the air long after they've left. Richmond is also home to the French Gate area, where the ghost of a young woman in a white dress is often seen. She is thought to have been a lost bride, wandering the streets searching for her wedding that never took place. Her sorrowful figure appears at night, her eyes filled with longing, and many believe that seeing her brings misfortune or a warning of an approaching storm. 5. Bridgnorth, Shropshire. Bridgnorth, a town with a charming riverside setting, is also home to some terrifying ghost stories. One of the most unsettling tales comes from the old castle ruins, where it is believed the ghost of a medieval knight roams the grounds. This knight, once the protector of the castle, is said to have been betrayed and murdered by those he trusted. His spirit is said to wander the ruins at night, his footsteps echoing through the broken walls, seeking revenge on those who betrayed him. Another chilling location in Bridgnorth is the town's saint, Mary's Church, where it is said the spirits of former residents still linger. Those who have visited late at night claim to hear strange noises, including whispers and the sound of a bell ringing from an invisible source. The churchyard itself is also said to be haunted by the ghost of a woman who died in childbirth, her mournful cries said to echo in the wind. The Old Crown Inn, a pub in the heart of Bridgnorth, is also known for its ghostly activity. Bar patrons have reported the sound of footsteps in empty rooms, doors opening and closing by themselves, and even glasses flying off the shelves. Some claim that the inn is haunted by the spirit of an angry innkeeper who met a violent end in the 17th century. His restless energy is said to be what causes the disturbances, making the inn one of the most notorious haunted locations in town. 6. Tiverton, Devon. Tiverton, a market town in Devon, is home to several haunted locations. One of the most well-known is the Tiverton Castle, which dates back to the 12th century. The castle's ghostly reputation comes from the spirit of Lady Anne, who died under mysterious circumstances. It's said that Lady Anne still roams the castle, searching for her lost love. Visitors to the castle report seeing her apparition near the windows, staring out across the grounds. Some claim to have heard her voice, calling out in anguish as if still longing for the man she lost. Another haunted spot in Tiverton is the nearby St. Peter's Church, where the spirit of a former priest is said to wander the grounds. His figure is said to appear in the churchyard at twilight, staring mournfully at the graves of his parishioners. Those who have encountered him say they feel an overwhelming sense of grief and loss, as if the priest is still mourning those he failed to save. In the woods surrounding Tiverton, there is also a legendary figure known as the Crying Lady of Radden Hill. She is said to appear on foggy evenings, weeping for the loss of her children, who drowned many years ago. Her ghostly figure is often seen in the mist, walking the hills with a forlorn expression. Many who have encountered her report feeling an inexplicable sense of sorrow, as if they too share in her grief. 7. Hexham, Northumberland. Hexham, a town nestled in the northeast of England, has long been regarded as one of the most haunted locations in the region. The town's eerie reputation is most closely tied to the Hexham Old Jail, which dates back to the 14th century. Once a notorious prison, it's believed to harbor the spirits of former inmates who died within its walls. Visitors have reported hearing the sound of chains dragging along the floor, and some even claim to have seen shadowy figures moving through the dimly lit halls. However, the most chilling encounter comes from an alleged haunting near the Hexham Abbey. According to local legends, a priest was buried within the abbey's grounds after his untimely death. Some say that the priest's spirit can still be heard late at night, whispering in the shadows. Those who have visited claim to feel an overwhelming presence in the abbey's graveyard, as though being watched by unseen eyes. Additionally, a more recent phenomenon, known as the Hexham Heads, is said to have further contributed to the town's eerie atmosphere. In the 1970s, 2 strange stone heads were found by a young boy near a nearby wooded area. Ever since their discovery, locals have claimed to experience a series of unsettling occurrences, from unexplainable lights to sudden drops in temperature. The mystery surrounding the heads has only deepened the town's reputation as a place where the supernatural lingers. 8. Bedford, Bedfordshire. The historic town of Bedford, located along the River Great Ouse, is renowned for its ghostly occurrences. One of the most famous haunted locations in Bedford is Bedford Castle, which was largely destroyed during the 13th century. Despite its ruinous state, the castle still attracts numerous visitors, many of whom report paranormal experiences. The most frequently seen ghost is that of a young woman, often referred to as the Lady in Grey, who is believed to have been a servant during the castle's prime. She is said to wander the castle grounds, dressed in a grey gown, crying out for someone to find her lost love. Her mournful sobs can sometimes be heard in the dead of night, and her ghostly figure has been spotted by many who venture near the ruins. In addition to the castle, Bedford Cemetery is another place said to be plagued by spirits. The most disturbing legend here is the tale of a ghostly figure called the White Man. Witnesses claim to see a tall, ethereal man dressed in white, his face obscured, walking among the gravestones. Some claim to feel an icy chill when they are near, as though the figure is drawing closer. Those who've dared to follow him say he vanishes before they can get any closer. leaving only the unsettling sense of a presence lingering in the air. The Old Victorian Theatre in Bedford is also rumoured to be haunted by the spirit of a young actress who tragically passed away during a performance many years ago. Her ghost has been reported to appear on stage, often just before performances begin, and some crew members have even claimed to hear her voice whispering in the dark before the curtains rise. 9. Bishop's Stortford, Hertfordshire. Bishop's Stortford, a charming town in Hertfordshire, is known for its tranquil surroundings, but it also holds a number of ghostly tales. Among the most well-known hauntings in the town is the eerie presence surrounding Bishop's Stortford Museum, a former workhouse that housed the poor and destitute during the Victorian era. Staff and visitors alike have reported hearing the faint sound of crying children echoing through the museum's halls, along with the sound of footsteps when no one is nearby. The most famous ghost of Bishop's Stortford is that of a woman named Mary, who was a servant in the town centuries ago. It is said that she died tragically in a fire, and her restless spirit continues to haunt the town's streets. Her apparition has been seen walking along the main road, her face obscured by a veil of smoke, as though searching for the home she once served. Locals claim that Mary's ghost is drawn to the old tavern, where she was often seen during her lifetime. St. Michael's Church, located near the heart of Bishop's Stortford, also has its own ghostly tale. Here, the spirit of a monk is said to haunt the church, pacing the aisle late at night. The monk's ghost is thought to have been a former member of the clergy who was murdered by bandits centuries ago. Those who have witnessed his spectral figure say he walks with purpose, as if on a mission, but disappears before anyone can get too close. 10. Swaffham, Norfolk. Swaffham, a quiet town in Norfolk, has long been the subject of ghostly stories. One of the most notable hauntings is found at the Swaffham Prior Church, where the spirit of a mysterious figure has been reported numerous times. This figure is often described as a tall man dressed in medieval garb, wandering the churchyard in search of something lost. Some claim to hear the rustling of robes as the figure moves through the church's gates, and others have even seen him vanish into the shadows, only to reappear at a different spot. Another widely known ghost story from Swaffham involves the White Lady of Swaffham, a woman who, according to legend, was wrongfully accused of witchcraft and executed. Her restless spirit is said to haunt the town's streets, appearing only at dusk or during storms. Witnesses claim that she glides silently through the town, her face twisted in a sorrowful expression, and that anyone who encounters her will soon face a period of misfortune. Swaffham's King's Head Inn also has its own share of ghostly stories. It's said that the spirit of a former innkeeper still haunts the building, particularly the upper floors. Guests staying at the inn have reported hearing heavy footsteps in the hallway, followed by a soft knock at the door, only to open it and find nothing. The innkeeper's ghost is thought to be endlessly checking the rooms, even after death, to ensure the guests are cared for. 11. Ramsgate, Kent. Ramsgate, a coastal town in Kent, is known for its picturesque harbour and sandy beaches, but beneath its beauty lies a dark and haunted history. One of the town's most infamous haunts is the Ramsgate Tunnels, a labyrinth of underground passageways that were used during the Victorian era. It is said that the spirits of those who perished in the tunnels during air raids still wander the dark corridors, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Visitors have reported hearing ghostly voices calling out in the distance, as well as the eerie sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Another haunting in Ramsgate is associated with the Royal Victoria Pavilion, which was built in the 19th century. The pavilion is rumoured to be haunted by the ghost of a former actress who died tragically on the stage. Her ghost is often seen in the dressing rooms, and some say her voice can be heard rehearsing lines long after the theatre has closed for the night. The graveyard of St. Lawrence Church is also a site for paranormal activity. Visitors to the cemetery have reported seeing shadowy figures among the gravestones, and some claim to feel the chill of a cold breeze, even on warm summer days. Locals believe these spirits are the souls of former residents who still watch over the town. 12. Matlock Bath, Derbyshire. Matlock Bath, a small spa town in Derbyshire, is one of the most haunted places in the UK. Its history as a tourist destination dates back centuries, and with that history comes a dark and eerie past. One of the most well-known hauntings is at the Matlock Bath Pavilion, a grand building that once hosted high society in the 18th and 19th centuries. The pavilion is now a ruin, but it's said to be haunted by the ghost of a young woman who died there in a tragic accident. Her apparition has been spotted walking along the riverbank, her face obscured by a veil, and her presence is often accompanied by a sense of deep sadness. The Derwent River, which runs through Matlock Bath, is also said to be haunted by the spirit of a fisherman who drowned in its waters many years ago. His ghost is often seen by fishermen and boaters, appearing on misty mornings with a fishing rod in hand. Witnesses say they can hear him calling out to them from the water, but when they try to approach, he vanishes into the mist. Matlock Bath's Heights of Abraham is another haunted spot. The attraction, which offers panoramic views of the surrounding countryside, is said to be haunted by the ghost of a Victorian woman who fell to her death from the cliffs. Her apparition has been spotted near the viewing platform, and it is said that those who encounter her may experience a sudden feeling of dizziness or a sense of vertigo, as if being pulled over the edge. 13. Tisbury, Wiltshire. Tisbury, a picturesque village in Wiltshire, has long been a place of intrigue due to its haunted history. One of the most chilling stories from this village involves Tisbury Manor, a grand, centuries-old building that has been the site of numerous paranormal encounters. It is said that the manor is haunted by the ghost of a young woman who died tragically in the 17th century. Her apparition has been seen in the garden, wandering beneath the oak trees, her face sad and mournful. Visitors claim to hear soft whispers on the wind, and some say they've felt the cold brush of her presence as she passes by. Some have reported seeing a faint light glowing in the manor's windows at night, despite the house being abandoned, adding to the eerie atmosphere surrounding it. The St. John's Church in Tisbury also holds its share of ghostly tales. The most famous is of a figure dressed in dark robes, often seen standing near the altar at midnight. Some believe this figure to be a former priest who was tragically murdered in the church many centuries ago. Those who have visited the church late at night report feeling a sudden drop in temperature, followed by an overwhelming sense of unease, as though the figure is watching them from the shadows. There are also reports of strange noises, such as the sound of chanting or a bell tolling, when no one is around, as though the priest's spirit is still trying to perform his duties. 14. Lydney, Gloucestershire. Lydney, a town in Gloucestershire, has an eerie reputation, especially when it comes to the mysterious Lydney Park. The park is home to ancient ruins and mysterious structures that some believe have a connection to supernatural forces. One of the most chilling ghost stories tied to this place is the tale of a Roman soldier's ghost, said to haunt the park's grounds. It's said that his ghost can be seen wandering the ruins, carrying his sword, and his footsteps are often heard in the stillness of the night. Those who venture into the park after dark sometimes report hearing the clang of metal as if a battle is taking place, though no one else is in sight. Some locals claim to have seen his ghostly figure standing at the edge of the ruins, staring out toward the horizon as if waiting for a battle that never came. Another famous haunting is associated with the Lydney docks, where the ghost of a former dock worker is said to linger. This ghost is often seen near the water's edge, and witnesses claim that he can be heard calling out to the ships as though waiting for a vessel to return. Many believe this spirit died in an accident at the docks, and his soul remains there, forever waiting for something that will never come. Others have reported hearing the sound of chains rattling and the faint smell of salt water, as if the docks are still alive with activity long after they've been abandoned. 15. Atherstone, Warwickshire. Atherstone, a historic town in Warwickshire, is home to Atherstone Hall, haunted by the Grey Lady, a spirit of a woman who died from heartbreak after being betrayed by her lover. Her ghost is seen wandering the halls, her face hidden by a veil, and her presence is marked by cold air and soft crying. Visitors report hearing phantom footsteps and feeling watched. Some have even described a feeling of being gently touched on the shoulder, only to turn around and find no one there. Her sorrowful wail can sometimes be heard echoing through the manor during the dead of night, filling the air with an unearthly sadness. The hall's tragic history is believed to have trapped her spirit. At the Red Lion Inn, a sailor's ghost haunts the upper rooms after mysteriously disappearing. His figure is often seen pacing the halls, with eerie noises heard at night. Guests have reported seeing him staring out of the window, as if waiting for something or someone to return. There are also strange occurrences of objects moving on their own, as though the sailor is trying to communicate from beyond. Lastly, St. Mary's Church is home to the ghost of a monk who died under mysterious circumstances. His figure is often spotted in the churchyard, and many believe his presence brings misfortune. The monk's spirit is said to roam silently, watching over the gravestones. Some say that if you visit the church at midnight, you may hear soft whispers or see the faint outline of his figure crossing the graveyard, adding to the town's already eerie atmosphere. Atherstone's ghosts leave a chilling mark on anyone who dares to visit. If you enjoyed these spine-chilling stories, don't forget to like and share with your friends. Have you ever visited any of the haunted places mentioned? Share your creepy experiences in the comments below. Stay tuned for more eerie tales here at Creepy Experience.